Okay, today we're going to go over a very specific mechanic, and it's recoil. So how you move up, and then there's a few nuances that we're going to cover, since just making your gun jump up isn't that hard. You can just add some yaw or pitch to the camera, but the specific mechanics here, this one's kind of tailored off of the Planetside 2 recoil, but there's a lot of shooter games that have similar mechanics to this. So the one is after you shoot, and then if I let go, it will settle back down to your initial aim point. Obviously you can make it go faster or slower, and the angle itself can be reset. I have this one set to recoil up and to the right, but it doesn't necessarily have to do that. Now, the thing about this is it's not just measuring how far it recoils and then resetting, because if I compensate for the recoil, so I'm pulling down and to the left and then let go, it will still settle. It won't over settle. Like if it was just measuring how much it should have moved, then my gun should like go down here if I compensated. So it kind of remembers, so you can move around, shoot at different things, and it will only settle as much as you haven't compensated for the recoil. And it will jump back, and it does smooth a little bit, and I will get into that. I will briefly cover just some of the general shooting mechanics. I'll just go over that now. I have a special trigger system here that can just fire delay, automatic. That's right here. I might cover this whole system since I think it's actually pretty handy. I have it in a lot of my projects under the project macro library, and it kind of handles all the trigger system. Let me know if that would be useful to y'all. This is a standard just line trace projectile. This is the decal. Fade screen side. Oh yeah, that's the how big, how far away basically before it fades. Attaching it, damage, and then a little bit of impulse. And then let's see the next one. I think I have the sound. I have some camera shake. You could, I think in Planetside 2 they have the camera shake in the animation. Unreal has a custom camera shake system, so I just use that here, but that's totally preference. This is the arm animation, and then lastly, this is my muzzle flash. You should probably do this as a particle, but you just have a little bit more control if you just make the muzzle flash like a, here, I'll just turn it on so you can see, like a plane in front. I was trying it out with a few different weapons. Right now I just have the pistol toggled on. These models are from Planetside. I didn't make them. Okay, here's the actual meat of the recoil system though. It is divided into pitch and yaw. So that's up and down and left and right, and you can set these strengths. So for example, okay, the smoothing, you would keep the same. Let's see, the rate, crosshair, recenter, pitch amount. So you want it to recenter back down. 1 second, let me find the mechanic. Those are used steering. So these are kind of how far it can go. So if you were kind of using this as an actual mechanic, you would want to use this for min and max. So the reason this goes up is or the min, these are negative values, so it's going to always go up. So it just varies. So for example, if I put those like that, I drag this over here. I think I was practicing the FPS shield. See, it goes down. So these kind of depend on how far it will go up and down when it recoils, and the same here. You could even, I'm just going to copy this. If you want it to go like straight with a lot of deviation, let's increase this a bit, maybe 8, that's quite a bit. So see, it goes, that will go straight up, but with a lot of horizontal deviation, where it will jump back and forth. We'll keep it fairly small, so it's up and to the right. So it technically can go to the left a bit, but it's biased more towards the right, so we'll end up going to the right. And these all use kind of a semi-loop system instead of being on tick. There might be some disadvantage to this, but I haven't found any major problems. Basically, it divides the amount it wants to move by however many slices you want. So this, I have it divided into 9 different slices, and that will, right now I have it set to 60 frames per second every cycle. So that's how much it will move. It will move 1/9 the amount every 60th. At 60 frames per second, every frame it will move whatever this division is. So it'll move 1/9 of however much it's supposed to recoil. So we'll do that fairly quick, actually. And then it just kind of goes through and it checks, and it's going to move your weapon upward. Crosshair, so pitch amount. I'm just going. This one's basically, it's just a duplicate, but for yaw, right here. And then this one, let's see, what am I doing here? I am taking the absolute value of the pitch amount and I'm dividing it. So what this does is the slice count. I am increasing the slice count if the weapon has to move. This is for when it recenters, which is this down here. So this is the delay, how quickly it recenters. So right now it takes about 1/3 of a second. But for example, I'm going to make this like 2 seconds. So I go all the way up, 1, 2, there you go, then it goes down. So what this calculates here, so let's make it like a sniper rifle or something, where it's going to recenter, not a sniper rifle, but like a DMR, where it's going to recenter fairly quick, but it is going to go up like a lot. So let's try this value. It's a bit too quick. So it's quite snappy, but it returns quickly, so that you can get different kind of values that you would want. And then this recenter, based on the slice count, the recenter slice count, which is set here, it will loop through and reset the pitch until it's very close to, where is it? Until it's done with the slice count. And then once it's moved enough, it will finish this off, and then it will reset all these values. Where it gets fed into, because the tricky part with recoil systems is it needs to feed into your movement system, your mouse movement. Since obviously recoil affects mouse movement, and it needs to be smart about the mouse movement. So if I try to compensate for the recoil, it knows I'm trying to compensate and doesn't over reset the mouse. So the way I've done that, I'm using my trigger system as, is the gun firing? If the gun is firing, go ahead and start to measure and add up the axis value. Add the axis value to this crosshair recenter pitch amount, because that means the more you move the axis, the higher that value will be. The nice thing here as well is it does get kind of balanced out, because the axis value will be both negative and positive. So if I make a movement like go up and then back down, it will still kind of balance it back out. So it's not like the absolute value or anything. 1 second, I press okay. And then this right here is actually pretty important. This crosshair pitch amount, let me, as I explain this, I'm actually going to fill this out. So here. So let me make these a bit easier to read. So this is if this value is greater than 0, then set the max value to be 0. And if this value is less than 0, or I'm sorry, if this value is greater than 0, then set this to be the max value. And if this value is less than here. So if the recenter pitch amount less than 0, then make it the min, and that's going to be then make it the max. And this is rather important, because here, what I might do is I'm just going to plug this in here. Let's see if we can get any noticeable differences. So this should be the same if I don't move the mouse at all, but I'm going to try to, let me do it with both of them real quick. There we go. Let's just plug this right in here. So this is turning and this is pitch. See, you get these weird snaps. So notice this means it compensates kind of regardless of where I aim. It will go back to wherever I start shooting. So I do like this, and it goes all the way back to there, which is obviously not what you want. You want it to reset to wherever the player would have moved if there wasn't recoil. So if that makes any sense. So you don't just want to reset it to wherever the player was aiming at before he started shooting. You want them to reset to the spot as if there was no recoil in the gun where the player would be looking, and then reset to there. And the way to do that is you kind of have to restrict what movements you actually count. So, for example, if when we hook this back up, I think, okay, this is less than, if this is less than 0, right? And then I think this one's the same as this one, right? Yeah. So if you hook this back up, if I move down here, it will reset down there, because this is more than me compensating for the recoil. But if I go up and try to reset the recoil, it doesn't really count this motion here, because clearly if I move against the recoil, then it automatically doesn't count that. It's like, okay, that's clearly the player trying to reduce the recoil in the weapon, and that's not them just like trying to aim for a moving character or something. So that's kind of how this is calculated. This isn't a tutorial. I should have mentioned that at the start, but like this is mainly to just kind of give an overview. I haven't seen many real videos kind of go over how you could do a recoil system like this. I made this one a while ago, and I wanted to at least share kind of the concepts behind it and a loose kind of implementation of how to get some of the more nuanced systems within first-person shooter recoil systems. So if you do have questions about it, this is partly, I want to make this video just to give a place for people to ask questions about it. The Discord is available. That link will always be in the description. So you can either put something in the comments, or if your problem is more complex and you need to post some like screenshots or specific use cases, feel free to jump onto the Discord and post those images. That's the best way to do that. All right, catch you later.